Hi, I'm Andrea Ninijian and I'm with Car Oracle. And today we are going to dig deep into auto insurance. And joining me to help me with that conversation is Vladin Trivanovic.
Hi, Andrea. How
Hi,
you doing?
good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Vladin has had over 30 years experience in the insurance industry, and he is going to share just a wealth of information with us. Vladin, my insurance rates have increased over the past few years, as have everybody else's. But yet I'm hearing that insurance companies are losing money. So what's going on? What is happening in the market to create this situation?
Yeah, it has been one of the worst that we've ever seen, hasn't it? As consumers, we've really been blindsided, I think it would be a fair statement. Though I will say we probably shouldn't be that blindsided. Historically, insurance rates are on a 2-year lag from standard inflation rates. So when you put that in perspective, during COVID and coming out of COVID, we had refunded money in California
Right.
because of lack of claims. So those policies that were adjusted for the lower driving lack of claims activity, we had 2 years in a row. But when we came out of the pandemic, we ended up with inflation rates 20 to 25%. Wall Street Journal at one point had an article that said that auto manufacturers had increased their parts prices by over 27%. So you have to take in perspective that cars are being repaired at an inflated rate, but the premiums not only weren't did not go up, but they had actually been reduced. So what we're seeing now is rates going to where they probably would have been if the monies weren't refunded during the pandemic, and still climbing to try to make up for all the revenue lost for all the repairs. Um, the numbers are different from state to state, but in particular, we're dealing with California. You and I are both here. Um, there's regulations in place that prevent insurance companies from arbitrarily raising rates. So there is a third party that oversees insurance companies' requests for rate increases. And even that can take a year, 2 years time before that process gets done. And during the course of that time, you're still fixing cars. You're still paying claims out based on rates or premiums, well, repair rates that may have gone up significantly because, like we all have seen, supply chain had a huge effect on building industry. Any trip to the hardware store, lumber yard showed that you couldn't buy a $2 two by four anymore.
Right.
And auto parts and auto repairs, unfortunately, are not much different. That's not to take away or diminish the effects that this has had, because it stings. It's part of our daily necessity, and we definitely are seeing a huge impact to our premiums. California is probably 27 to 28% over the last year on average
Wow.
statewide. Yeah.
Well, and cars are more expensive these days. I mean, the price of a car has gone through the roof.
Yeah, that can't be dismissed either. That's something that and you know better than I. We mentioned it once before. I think in conversation, the average cost of a car now I think is $50,000,
Yeah.
and it wasn't so long ago that you'd go down the street, and, you'd buy a Camry for $18,000 to $20,000, and I'm not promoting Camry. I'm just saying as an example. But yeah, the idea when I heard that number, I was dumbfounded. But to tell you a funny story, my son's fairly tall, kind of a huskier kid, and we always, when we went to look for a car for him, we were looking what he could fit in,
Mm,
because at six foot
sure.
five, and it's limited to some of the cars that we thought he could fit in. So we're at a local dealership, and he was going from car to car, and I saw this beautiful big pickup truck, black pickup truck. It was just gorgeous, black and chrome everywhere. It was just wonderful. And I get in there and I have him sit in it, and we're having a great time. And this woman walks out. It happened to be her truck. We didn't realize it wasn't for
Oh
sale
shoot.
because the window sticker, but the window sticker was on this truck and it was $94,000. And
Oh my
then I
gosh.
realized that trucks were like 50, 60,000 for a pickup truck.
Oh my
Never
goodness.
thought in a million years I would see that.
No.
But yeah, so cars have gotten a lot expensive. Technology has come into place where even the smallest dent now requires calibration before the repairs are done, calibration after the car is done. So there's $500 that never was on a repair ticket before a couple of years ago. Even replacing a windshield requires calibration.
Yeah.
So